Hello, everyone, and welcome to all. My name is John Samuel, and I am here today with my co-founder and friend, Mike Iannelli. What's up, dude?
What's
Mike, you
happening,
there?
John? How are you, man?
What's up,
Good
man?
to see you, brother. I'm good. How you doing, man?
Dude, can you believe it's been 1 year since we launched Ablr?
I cannot. I honestly cannot. It's been an
All right,
absolute
it's been 1 year since yesterday.
blessing. Been a blessing.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Today I just really want to kind of share where we were. And I really, what I'm fascinated by is your own personal growth in terms of disability inclusion and accessibility. I've seen you, a year and a half ago, I think we first met. And then a year ago, the discussions about, creating this joint venture happened. And then, yeah, we did it. But I saw you grow. And I'd like to get kind of hear your own personal views on that and how you've grown in terms of disability inclusion and accessibility.
Well, that's a good question, John. I don't know if we have enough time for that. I have, yeah. It's interesting, John. I was telling one of our clients this morning about just the experience that I went through from learning how we built our website and how everything was accessible. And we also talked about when we first started, there was this feeling of lack of education, lack of awareness, and just it was frustrating, if you remember. And one of the things that you've taught me is compassion. And over the year, the number of folks and who I've met with and what we've done and what we've created, and it's been an absolute humbling experience. For me, it's completely changed my perspective on life. And again, I know that might sound cliche, but sometimes in life, you have to be disruptive to, truly change or evolve the core of who you are and how you see things. And being part of this, working with you as a partner, as a friend, the people on our team, our great team, our amazing clients, the people that actually really care about what we're doing and following our mission. It's just infused a whole new perspective on my life. It's helped my relationship with my children. It's helped my personal relationships. And it's really provided sort of a platform for me personally and for Ablr to make a change, to drive change and to drive growth. And it starts, you can't drive growth or evolution if you don't do it yourself, right? And it starts with you. And in this case, John, to your point, it started with me. And it's been a humbling experience that will be forever grateful for.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And now you spend a lot of your day really working with our clients, and I'm interested in that, because I appreciate the fact that when you're talking to them, because you can be authentic, you can talk about your understanding about accessibility, and then your view changing as you got to know it. So what have you seen with our clients? What do you think some of the key kind of hesitations that they had in the beginning, and then as we've been growing, what do you think? How do you think that's changing, and what do you think changing?
Well, what I'm seeing changing is, again, we had a great meeting with a client yesterday and today, and there's a proactive approach to it now that I've seen. And it's still early, but people that understand what a VPAD is, they understand what ADA is, they get what WCAG is, they understand that what usability is and how it impacts other people. A year ago, it was a harder discussion. It was a very hard discussion. And now when we look at it today, when individuals are proactively coming to us and saying, hey, we want to be better, we want to be inclusive, it's important for us. And it's not important for us to protect ourselves legally. It's important for us because it's the right thing to do. And we're seeing more and more organizations step forward, take the right steps to, one, understand that they don't know what they don't know. Two, they understand that there's incredible value to the business by being inclusive. Again, so it's not just, do the right thing. And to me, that's the obvious thing, right? But when you're dealing with corporate America, oftentimes it's not always about doing the right thing. it's about doing the profitable thing, right? Or the optical right thing. But it's almost like, when you talk about DEI, and we always talk about the top down, right? It has to be driven from the top down. But in what I'm finding with accessibility is that we're creating these soldiers of followers of people, young people, right out of school, like Sarah on our team, that want to drive a change in life. Like these younger professionals, these younger folks coming out of school, they're hungry, they're open-minded, and they are actually leading the accessibility movement from the bottom up. And I don't mean that bottom up, you know what I mean, but from that moving up. And so it's a really sort of interesting dichotomy that we see. And so it is really driven from our youth. And I believe it's going to be driven from our youth. And I think that they're the ones that are living it every day, that are more inclusive today than ever. I mean, my children, it's unbelievable how open-minded and inclusive they are of every human. And it's an absolute honor. So yeah, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but yeah, it's a good time, and a lot of changes happening. And I think you're going to see a lot more on the horizon.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's interesting how you talk about the folks who are relatively new in their career, or people who, it being a, like, top middle, bottom middle up, right, kind of approach, right? And I think that's really cool. And so from an accessibility standpoint, that has a lot of that's good news for us, right? Because I think as time goes over, it's going to be more focus, more interest on accessibility, and making sure that content's accessible for everyone. Over the last year, kind of, if we reflect, what were some of the things you just weren't expecting, and what were some of the bright spots you saw?
Things well, one thing I realized is that in order to be in this sort of environment, in this space, it's like it's all or nothing, right? You can't dip your toe in and say, I want to, play with DEI, or I want to focus on disability inclusion, or let me give a little bit of chance here. Let me check out this accessibility thing. And, I think we tried that in the very, very beginning. And the whole point was that it's impossible. It's a way of life. It comes, the change is really from within you. And I was a great example, John. I mean, agency guy, I've been doing it my whole life, e-commerce, chasing all the ladders and things. And when you stop and think, and when you meet people like you, and you open your mind to possibilities that you've never thought of before, it changes the core of who you are as a human. And I think that was one of the biggest surprises, that it's not just from 9 to 5 or from 8 to 6 or whatever, that you turn that on. It's who you are. It becomes who you are. And it's every day of your life, at every second, every minute, and it's your DNA. And so personally, my DNA has changed. And I'm still the same guy, but my DNA has changed in a way that, this is my life. It's not my job, and it's my life. And I think that was a surprise for me, one that I've been very grateful for. Some of the surprises, I think, the lack of awareness has been the biggest one for me. The fact that we have, 10 million people in the United States that have a visual impairment, but yet 90-some+% of websites and digital content aren't even compliant. They're not even compliant, let alone accessible or usable. And yet, in some ways, it's like, it's okay. Like, the world's okay with that. And that's the hard part, right? Because I'm an emotional guy, but the world's okay with that. And then you have to breathe through it and realize that it's not necessarily a purposeful thing that people are doing it. They're not doing it on purpose. It's just they're not aware, and they haven't been educated. And to me, I'm so grateful for the DEI movement, because I wasn't aware, selfishly wasn't aware, and just had my blinders on, my life, my focus, that so many people are just completely left behind and forgotten. And it's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong. So I'm not changing the world per se, but I'm taking the right steps to do the right thing for others. And that is why it's life, not work. And so that was one of the things.
No, that's cool, dude. Because I mean, like I said, I've seen you change over, the last 18 months and really over the last year. You have, I think, the thoughtfulness. You've always been thoughtful, but I think there's been an intentionality even more so over the last year, and every month, every kind of there is more and more of that, and I'm happy about that, and I'm proud of you, and I'm thankful. And especially, I mean, this is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, so this is a big month for people with disabilities. And you were to give, talking to Mike Iannelli 2019, what would you tell Mike Iannelli in 2019 why he needs to think about, why should October be important to him aside from our birthday?
That's so you're saying, what would I tell? Okay, so looking
Mike
back,
Iannelli in 2019. Yep. This is before Mike Iannelli was,
I would say
drank the accessibility Kool-Aid. This is pre-Kool-Aid drinking.
Oh man, I would say probably to be selfless. The world is not about you. It's really it's really about all of us. And I know that probably sounds cliche, but it is. I was very selfish, in basically everything that I did. I would say I would tell that guy to be open-minded, to be himself, because I think himself is a good self, but oftentimes a lot of the things that we talk about and train is it's the inclusive language, it's the etiquette and things like that. And I would say to tell him that his instincts are right, but his approach may be wrong, and to think about the world as a unified place, that we're all kind of fit in here for a reason, and to embrace that, and to embrace differences of people. And I think that's what I would tell him before I got into any of this. And to be patient. That's the other one. Be patient.
Yeah. The patience is something. That's what I think I would have said, from a learning over the last 12 months, I think there is a patience piece, right? And patience pays off. And I think that's what we're seeing. Right.
Absolutely.
And I think that, another thing is, I really get, something I talk about a lot about is proximity builds empathy. And I'd love to get your even thoughts about just how has it been, spending time with Shannon on our team, Angus on our team, myself, and, others, Kwan and other people who've been in our team, right, over the last 12 months. What would you tell other people about, breaking down that invisible barrier and having conversation with people with disabilities?
That's a great question. Everybody has a story, and everybody has, and I think that from your own, we're all here, right, for a period of time, but for your own personal growth and evolution as a human being, not opening your eyes, ears to understand other people's perspectives and stories, you're missing out on life. And I mean that, if I didn't, I remember the first time we went out, John, I think it was the first trip Mike Kane, right? We went out with the team, and it was just the most rewarding experience for me personally to just be surrounded by so many different people, different backgrounds, different abilities, obviously different races, gender equality. It's opened my mind to realizing who I am as a person, but yet learning from others. Like, I'm smarter today. I'm more compassionate today. I'm more understanding. I'm more patient. I'm more calm. I have more conviction. I'm more fulfilled. I feel like I'm a better father. I feel like I'm a better person. I have a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. And that's my journey. But from where I was 2 years ago to where I am today, I would say, listen, give every human being an opportunity to talk, and just listen and embrace and be open-minded. And, my whole life is so different, John, today. I could talk hours but everything about what I've done and how the people that are in my life today are drastically different than the people that were in my life 2 years ago. The people that I want to spend my time with are different people, right? Other than, close family and friends. And proximity builds empathy, and you're right. You've got to be in it. That's the same thing we talked about. You can't have one foot in, one foot out. You can't do it. One of the things I've realized about being, in the past, I might have wanted to do something to help somebody for me, to fill my selfish void, right? To make myself feel better. And that's not, I do things today because it's natural. It's what you should do. It's what we all should do. And it's not a thought anymore. It's just not a thought. And again, I think this can carry over to every human being, that we're all here together, right? We all deserve the same access, equity. We all deserve the same kindness, compassion. We all need to do this together. And I think when people understand that, they get out of their box for a moment, and think about the big picture. It's life-changing. I'll give you, and I know I'm kind of blabbering a little bit, but I'll give you an example. There's a book I just read, and it's about, and I don't know the name of it. I'll find it, but it's about this it might be called Quantum Leap for all I know, but the premise of the book
that's what it is. You told me.
Is that what it is? Yeah. The premise of the book is, and it's short and simple for me because it works for me. But the premise of the book is basically you're in this sort of dimension in your life, and you get up, you do your thing. But there are choices in life that come throughout the day and throughout the month, year, whatever it may be. And you're given these choices, and you can either continue to go down the same path that you've always would go down, or you would try something different, something that is not part of who you are, or how you were raised, or any of your historical backgrounds, whatever. You do something that is opposite or very uniquely different than what you would have done. And by making decisions and choices that are very different than what you've done in the past, it opens up a whole nother dimension of life that you've never seen before. And it's a life worth living. And there's, you taste differently. You see differently, you hear differently, you touch differently, and it's wild. It's absolutely wild, because it's the greatest part of evolution when you can do things that are very different than what you've done before, and it opens up a whole new doorway to a life that you've never been exposed to. And that life that you're exposed to is frankly the life you should be living. And it's about, I wouldn't call it taking risks. I would say it's about viewing things uniquely different than you've done in the past. And it's a life-changing book. And I think it's very relevant to what we're doing today.
Yeah. I think, there's been a lot of self-development. You've talked about self-growth for you personally over the last year. And so as we look at the next year, right? If we do this interview next year, what do you think, what do you want to see? And what do you want to get out there?
Well, I'd like to see that 90% of websites that aren't accessible go down to about 20%.
Yeah.
That would be great. What I'd like to see, is a warmer world, right? A more inclusive place, and we're getting there, right? I think today, obviously the DEI movement is massive. It's the biggest it's ever been, and I feel like we've got a real chance in this country, in this world, to do something about it. I'd like to see Ablr double in size. Have a lot more advocates out there that are driving this. I would love to see organizations, when we think about podcasts and blogs and webinars, I'd like to see a larger audience in attendance. I'd like to see more public-facing events and conferences that are really driving an inclusive environment, inclusive world. I'd like to see more smiles, have more fun.
Yeah.
And align with amazing people that are supportive of what we're doing and care about what we're doing, and want to do good. and do good for the right reasons. And that's ultimately what I would like to see. I'm sure there's a million things, but you dropped it on me, man. So
No, for sure, dude.
that's
I got you. No,
that's what I
but
got.
talking about that, no, it's perfect. And I appreciate it, Mike. And talking about webinars, please, folks, we will be sending out information about our October 26th webinar for National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So I think that's a good plug there. But Mike, I just wanted to thank you for your friendship and partnership and just being there for me over the last year. And I'm just I'm super excited, and big thanks to our team. We have a wonderful team, wonderful
Yes, we do.
folks who busted every day. And then shout out to my boy Jeffrey, and love to him.
Absolutely.
And,
Biggest supporter we have, and
yes.
love him to pieces. And I would say second that I know we've got to run, but our team is amazing, great people. And John, it's been an honor, and it will continue to be an honor working with you on this and making the change, right? Changing the world together, one company at a time. So thank you for having me, John. I love you, brother. It's been awesome. And let's try to do this again.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Yes, we're definitely. And next week we will be at Drupal GovCon. So take a look out there. And we got lots of things going on this month. So we're super excited. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Sharon, for being our trusty producer. We love it. And thank you all. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks, John.